We met, how long ago now?
Oh my gosh, years ago. It's got to be at least, I don't know, 5 to 6 years at least,
I was thinking
right?
7 to 8.
Could be 7, 8.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Our very first project was the Kingsway project, I think, right?
that's right. Yeah.
Yes. It was a fun one. And that was on the cover of House and Home.
Oh, wow. And it continued ever since. Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Let's jump into the project. I would say this is a Leaside home, very quintessential Toronto home. We're dealing with these homes all the time. There's a limited amount of space, just enough to make things work, but you're in a confining space.
Yeah, so this was one of our first meetings for sure. And it's amazing what a transformation this is. So
challenge, what was the solution or the thing they wanted to solve with their existing home?
So it's not a big home. So it had a small galley kitchen, and then adjacent to the kitchen was kind of a biggish dining room. And it was just not conducive to entertaining, not conducive to our modern lifestyle where we hang out in the kitchen, when we enjoy prepping food together, and we linger over food. I think we spend so much time in the kitchen here in Canada, and they didn't have that opportunity to live that way with this galley kitchen. So one of the requests was to figure out a way to open up the space and make it more connected. So we did propose to remove the load-bearing wall between the kitchen and the dining room to open up the space. And then through discussions, we realized that it would be optimum if we flipped the kitchen to the other side of the home. So we did that because the right side, that long wall, is longer than the wall on the left side where the kitchen was currently. So what we did is we created a dine-in zone on the left side where the current galley kitchen is, with a banquette. And then we were able to put in a really good sized island in the center of the kitchen and have a beautiful long wall of cabinetry on the long side with top of the line appliances.
Just brought up the drawing there to kind of see what that looks like. So we can see the banquette on the left side where the old kitchen was. And we can see how the kitchen wall on the right is a bit longer than the banquette wall on the left. And it was, so you did go through a few iterations though. What was the reason we ended up on this layout?
You know what, it's always a bit of a back and forth with planning, I find, but we always arrive at the one ideal solution that we can all agree on. We had a few key points that we wanted to meet. One was to have an island that we could have at least 3 counter stools around. The other one is to obviously have a table and chairs so that this kitchen would be an eating kitchen as well as we had specific appliance sizes that we wanted to work with. So the 36-inch fridge, we had to accommodate a beautiful 30-inch range, and etc. We wanted to make sure that there was lots of storage. So Caroline and Matt really, really enjoy cooking, and they had specific dishes and pans and pots that we needed to find storage for, as well as things like Tupperware. And they're really into healthy eating, and they're into protein shakes and some of these healthy bars and things like that. So we wanted to make sure that those are accommodating in terms of storage as well, with a pantry. So we created as you can see on the bottom of your screen, there is a pantry space, which we created to have storage for all those protein shakes and etc., as well as to camouflage that nib wall that was a result of removing the load-bearing wall between the old kitchen and the old dining room. So it's always a balance between function and then how are we going to make this look amazing as well.
Right.
Yeah.
I know we had many conversations on that pantry area you just discussed. Super important for elevating the amount of storage in the space, but also, ingenious in terms of hiding that nib wall. But the challenge also was we didn't know how big that nib wall would be. So we didn't actually know if the spacing to the island would be sufficient. So it was always a bit of question mark, but I think it's a good example of committing to a detail and making it work, right? Like we were going to make that pantry work come hell or high water. It was really crucial, and we had many discussions around it. And I think that's an indication of the type of work that we do together in solving problems and making things happen because they must.
One of the top points that I wanted to make in our discussions today and why I love working with you guys is because of the critical thinking element that you bring into our process. We do thinking too, obviously. But you guys look at things from a millwork perspective, and you really help us troubleshoot issues. And I think when a few genius people put their heads together, you really do come up with some amazing solutions and ideas. And that is one of the things. And also, you know, we do design and we do millwork, but you guys bring in an expert point of view on cabinetry. We do not have the depth of knowledge about cabinetry that you do and your team does, but you really fine tune our thinking and our drawings and our plans to the T, so that it looks as amazing. And I mean, look at this plan; it's just absolute perfection. Like I look at this plan and I would not change a thing, nothing. It's perfect.
What you said about the bringing the smart people together and making things happen, I really see that as the magic. You know, we're sitting here with our years of experience and our very talented team, actually just waiting to be challenged in a way. And that's what you bring to the table. If we were just sit here without you, we'd be doing great cabinetry in a systematic format that we know works. But then you come in and you kind of push the envelope and challenge us to do different things. A case in point for this job was the introduction of the metal framing around the shelving around the uppers. And we'll take a look at some pictures in a moment. But, you know, that's something that had us buzzing to try to figure out, you know, how do we do this? How do we do this? And again, for us, it's not how do we aesthetically achieve this? It's how is this structurally sound? How is this not going to give anyone any problems down the road? So, you know, that was that magic touch in this project. I think that made a massive difference. I think, you know, calling up the pictures now, if, you know, people are looking at this kitchen, you know, that's one of the first things they see, right? That metal detail becomes a big part. Even though it's a smallish detail in the grand scheme of things, it became a really big part of the project. So yeah, I really enjoyed doing that.
Yes, well, that was a feat of engineering on your part for sure, because there were very specific things that we were looking for when we designed the shelf. We didn't want just a floating shelf. We didn't want a rack, just a plain rack attached to the upper cabinetry. We wanted a kind of a flat ribbon style metal detail that was only visible from the front. And obviously we needed support from the bottom, but we didn't want it wrapped up behind the shelf as well, because we really wanted this to feel kind of very polished, very sophisticated, and not industrial. I think that's the point I wanted to take. I wanted it to be edgy, but I think if we had just a typical, you know, 1-inch tubing, it would have felt too heavy and too industrial. And I am so glad that you guys were you understood the vision, and you persevered and made it work. And I know it took you guys a ton of time and a ton of back and forth and engineering to make it work.
I wouldn't say we understood the vision, but we understood your direction, right?
Okay.
A lot of times we don't see the full picture like you do, right? We don't see the full, every detail, you know, and that's where you come as a huge advantage to our clients is you bring it all together. You know, you help understand that, hey, this isn't what we're looking for in this area, we're looking for this. And frankly, we listen, we take notes, and we execute based on your parameters. but also there's open discussion. Hey, this is a challenge. How about this? How about that? And then, you kind of work with us too. Say, hey, maybe this will work, maybe this won't work. And yeah, it's always a fun process with you. So I appreciate it.
I'm glad you think of it that way.
I do. I mean, I think of it this way. Having done this allows us to do it again.
Yes.
Right? I mean, many things we do, much like the inspiration photo this project came from, this is someone else's project. And we kind of took that inspiration and reformulated it in such a way that allows us to expand our repertoire and able to bring this to other people quicker in the future because we've gone through this process. So for us, even though, the metal detail, we charge for the metal, we don't charge for the engineering work that goes behind it, because that actually is a benefit to us. We don't pass that engineering charge across because now we've expanded ourselves. In terms of other details of the project. So the tile backsplash was interesting here. It's almost like, how did that come about?
Oh my goodness, yes, I actually forgot about this. So the shelving had to be actually engineered and measured after the backsplash went in.
That's right.
Because yes, that's another point. So you guys are just so patient with us, honestly. It was quite the process. Yes, I love the backsplash. So the backsplash is the same idea. It's just sophisticated, not too edgy, not trendy.
The texture it provides is amazing.
Yeah, the handmade quality is just lovely.
And you also have an interesting take on kitchen trends.
Yes.
What is that?
Well, I don't believe in incorporating trends into a kitchen. I think that we invest so much money and so much time into making these beautiful kitchens happen. I mean, our clients invest so much money. The kitchens are not cheap. Kitchens are an investment into a home. I think if we incorporated too many trends, it would cut down on the longevity of a kitchen. I think a kitchen should last, 10, 15 years comfortably, 20, Yeah. I think if it was peppered with trends, it would feel dated very, very, very quickly. And so we try not to pay attention to trends. We obviously are very aware of what's going on in the world out there, the design world. It's moving super fast always, but we try and cater to our clients in a manner that represents a more timeless look. And interesting enough, we have a signature aesthetic, and our clients do reach out to us seeking a version of that is tailored to them.
I've worked with many designers, and I find the most popular and successful ones definitely mesh clients' needs and wishes into their aesthetic and kind of develop things that are a bit different each time, still holding true to your main core aesthetic. What would you say is Orsi Panos Interior's core aesthetic?
Oh my God, I knew you were going to ask me that. And
I know it's a loaded question.
It's so I don't really have the words for it. I've always struggled to put the words for it, but maybe some way to describe it would be, it has a Scandinavian influence, I think, but also has that North American warmth that we seek, especially in Canada. I think it's timeless. It's got a little edginess. For sure. I do love warm off-whites and grays. We don't do a heck of a lot of white kitchens because I think, white is beautiful, but anyone can do white. And we also like to play with contrast too. So we like soft blacks, off blacks. You guys did a beautiful black and oak finish on the kitchen island for this project, which is just absolutely stunning. And so contrast, but softened contrast, I would say, with mixed metals. And we really love playing with light fixtures. As you can see, the light fixtures really somehow steal the show in this place. We love the edginess that they bring to a space.
Yeah, those light fixtures are pretty bold.
Yeah, yes, they are.
can see the
Yes,
dark
there-
island there as well.
Yeah, that island is stunning. You got to see it from up front. That black and oak is just beautiful.
Nice, nice.
Mm.
Defining your style is difficult. Yeah, I find all the words have been muddled. Transitional means nothing because it means so much to so many different people. It's a very loose zone. So we really don't have, like we had in the past, those defined traditional, contemporary, modern. 10 years ago, we would use those very easily. Oh, contemporary, okay, transitional, and we kind of knew the recipe to make people happy. But now it's the floodgates have opened. It's really anything you can imagine. But I do think that your Scandinavian mix with that Canadiana is very much, there's a similarities to both of those in a lot of ways, right? We've definitely been influenced by Scandinavian design here in Canada immensely, whether we appreciate it or not. So yeah, I think that was a good explanation.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so let's get into the process of the work. There's all this planning you do in advance, and then hammer hits the home. It's rip out day. Clients are excited. A lot of smoke and billowing smoke that happens the first few days while the place is torn down.
Yeah.
It can be anxious for people at times. How do you kick off that first week in the project for clients?
Okay, so kitchen renos are they're hard on a family's life, right? So we try and either set them up with a temporary kitchen somewhere in the house, or really the best case scenario is to move out, even if it's for the first few weeks, just to move out to get away from the dust. Although we do seal off, usually if it's just a kitchen reno, we try and seal off the area so that the dust doesn't travel anywhere. Or we try and schedule kitchen renos in the season where the backyard can be used, and people can barbecue outside and etc.
Yeah.
I think actually the first couple of weeks is kind of exciting. It's exciting to see the old kitchen come down and getting everything ripped out. It's kind of like a super fast transformation from in a home. I find the most frustrating part for clients is kind of the middle part where things are happening slowly. The plumbing is going in and the electrical is going in, and it's not very visual, right? It's just very, very subtle changes as it all starts to come together. And then the most exciting part is when you guys show up with your beautiful cabinetry, and then we know it's the home stretch. Now, when you guys show up, usually we are wrapped up in about 3 weeks because you come in, you guys usually do your installation in a few days, right?
Yeah, 2 to 3 days. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the countertop goes in after the cabinetry gets templated, which comes in about 10 days to 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, it used to, I don't know.
It's still the same
I
now.
don't know, maybe the pandemic has changed that too.
So far, so good.
Yeah, so far so good. And then backsplash goes in last, and then the plumbing gets hooked up and the appliances get installed. So yeah, the last 3 weeks are the most exciting part.
Was it 3 months from start to finish, roughly?
Yes, just about. But remember, we did the whole house, so it was a big scope.
That's right.
Scope.
Yeah, part of the project here. So other than the kitchen and the banquette, which we discussed, the banquette's here.
Mm-hmm.
Really nice textured, beautiful upholstery there, really tying in the black elements, and light chairs, light table base. So kept it very open and airy there. I thought that was a good call.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's that pantry wall by the dog there, which again provided great storage and hid that structural wall nub, which was great. And this is the front room, very quintessential Orsi Panos here. This is understated, a bit edgy, and sophisticated.
Thank you.
And then again, this is a new railing, right?
Yes, it is. It's a beautiful custom railing.
So simple.
Breathtaking.
And this is what I meant before. That shelf detail, the black shelf detail, it kind of ties in perfectly to this,
Yes,
right?
yes.
This is not something
Not by mistake. It's not a happenstance for sure.
right.
So that's the thing when we do a whole home reno, the kitchen is not just a kitchen. It's connected and it's thought out and it's part of the whole concept.
Yeah.
So yeah, these elements definitely are thought out and repeated in subtle ways to, I find reinforcement helps create that cohesiveness.
Definitely.
Helps reinforce the design idea and intent.
Definitely. And then we can go upstairs here to the bathroom. You're always doing really edgy, funky floors in bathrooms. It's like
Yes.
a thing.
It is a thing. It is a
Yeah.
thing. I think it's the European background. You know, in Europe, people are just not afraid of taking risks
Right.
with their tiles. And I'm so thrilled that Caroline and Matt were open to taking a risk on the floor, and it totally paid off. It looks amazing.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And the wood Scandinavian / Canadian vanity there really tied in well. And you got to tell me, because I never asked, but I love this medicine cabinet. It's beautiful, but it's so functional. Where did you find this?
You know what? It was an off-the-shelf solution. We got it from Restoration Hardware.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a beautiful piece. Beautiful piece. Yes, we needed the extra storage. It's not it's a typical bathroom in the Lee side. It's not huge, but the 6 doors were just not enough. We needed that extra little bit. Caroline is a super talented makeup artist and esthetician, so you know she's got a little bit of product to store, so just a little bit.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It was a good.
And then you also did the bedroom with a lot of storage here. And this is one part of the project that we quoted, but you found a more cost-effective, I think it was IKEA.
We did IKEA bases and then custom doors. Yes. Right. Yes, nice. We did. Yeah. And I think we had to, everybody has a budget.
Right.
We haven't talked about budget, but that's a good thing to bring up too as a topic. Everybody has a budget, and sometimes, not everything is possible with beautiful, super custom solutions. So we went with you guys for the kitchen because we wanted the best for there. But in the bedroom, we decided to mix it up a little bit to save a little bit and to be able to afford to do everything in this home and complete it so that our clients feel at home always in every room.
For sure. And again, I mean, it's something we went through in this project and something we do with other clients. We'll quote the rooms. And if they have a question of, can we bring the price down? I will provide suggestions as well, much like you did, of what, here are your options, right? There are certain things you don't get going this route that you do get with us in terms of service and maybe a better quality finish, but it's a bedroom. You're not dealing with water. You're not dealing with oils and vinegars flying around. So the durability of the finish isn't as important. I believe, they saved, I think 50% of the cost going this route. So
yes. Now I don't recommend. Okay. How should I say this? IKEA is not the easiest company to deal with. Right. We spent countless hours on getting the right frames, getting them delivered. It's
and there's cost, but you do save it.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I mean, you have to weigh the pros and cons, but for the most part, at least you provide the options for the client. They can make up their own mind. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Awesome. So in terms of budgets, when you start working with a client, it's very important to establish budget. We do the same when we engage in a client. It's one of the first things you have to do to understand kind of what parameters you're working in. We can work in different budgets. You can as well. So you have to really establish that from the start. So was the initial budget, how close was it at the end of the road in this project from initial concept? And I'm not talking about just cabinetry, overall, how did that, and there's a lot of stuff that goes in the mix and different decisions and different stuff that's added, but where did you end up with this project? Talk about that a bit.
So we came pretty close to overall budget. It's part of our initial conversations with our clients. What is your budget? So then we know what to focus on and what we can actually accomplish. We try and be transparent, that's the word, about costs, because how would people know, right? We have the experience. And so we try and let people know what things realistically cost. The kitchen, I think we budgeted about 35 to 40K, and we were just a couple of thousands off. You guys came super, super close. But we also, when we establish the budgets, we do our due diligence. So we don't just throw out random numbers. So we had conversations with you guys about what you think this kitchen would cost. You guys actually put a preliminary quote together for us. So we put that into our initial budget. And therefore, at the end of the project, we arrive, pretty close to what we initially set out to do. So, and that's another thing that you guys are willing to do that for us. You work through our initial plans and concepts and drawings, and you give us a rough number, which helps us establish things. And then you go back and revisit that, and which I know is time consuming, and not everybody's willing to do that. So I appreciate you guys doing that.
I appreciate the detail you put into the initial drawings, right? And that really helps us and the clients ultimately establishing a more concrete budget. I can't tell you how many entire home projects, some of our biggest projects are massive custom homes, 4,000, 8,000 square feet. And we're given the architectural drawings, no elevations, very limited detail, and they're asking for budgets. And you just don't know where a client's desires or needs are coming from when you're looking at architectural drawings. A lot of times interior designers haven't been involved. And I find that very frustrating because we establish a budget, then we meet the clients, and the clients want something entirely different to what we've quoted. And costs rise quickly in what we do. Every detail can matter. I mean, I think in this case, we had priced it based on initial drawings, and then we introduced the metal details, which kind of, I think, drove up the cost. But it was an addition, right? It was something we added after the initial phase. And I think that's very normal. But the info you provide is really amazing as a service to us, but ultimately it's a service to the clients that you're providing. So it's really important.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. So anything else you want to add to the conversation? Anything we didn't discuss on this project, the world of design, challenges you're facing in the pandemic?
Oh my goodness, that's a loaded question.
A lot of questions.
I think we could talk for days, honestly. I just, I can just wrap up and say I just love working with you guys. I feel safe working with you. I don't know if I've ever told you that. I do feel safe. You catch our mistakes, you correct them, and you really bring a whole different level of expertise to our projects, and I so appreciate that.
Oh, thank you. We also appreciate you. It's always a pleasure working with you, and honestly, we know that the support we give you makes people very happy, and really, ultimately, it changes lives, right?
It really does.
I've said that my entire career. It's more evident now than ever that more people are spending time in their homes, and their home is becoming their well-being, in a lot of ways. So you have a lot of happy clients out there, and we're happy to support you and well into the future as well.
Thank you so much, Louie. I look forward to doing lots of amazing projects with you in the future.
I am as well. Orsi, thank you for your time. And you can find Orsi on Orsi Panos Interiors. That's .com, right?
Yes.
And on Instagram. And where else can they find you?
Facebook as well. But yeah, we are everywhere. No,
everywhere.
No, we are not. Well, thank you so much. Really enjoyed chatting with you, and have an amazing afternoon and a great weekend.
You too, Orsi. Thank you.
Okay, chat soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.